Welcome back to the Warbird Mistress. Today is Wednesday the 10th of December, 1941, and this is A Walk Through the War. We begin with the 4th Air Force in California, where the air echelons of the 11th and 22nd Bombardment Squadrons of the 7th Heavy Bombardment Group, each equipped with B-17s, ceased flying ASW patrols from Muroc Army Air Base. Today they are replaced by the 48th Medium Bombardment Squadron of the 41st Bombardment Group from Davis Mountain Field, Arizona, and they began flying ASW patrols with Lockheed A-29s and Douglas B-18s. Hudsons at that stage often appeared with factory-painted RAF camouflage schemes in the expectation of overseas sales, if that says anything about preparedness and expectations. Now the B-18 Bolo has a 900-mile range, about a 450-mile maximum radius. The A-29 Hudson, a proven ASW aircraft, has a range of just over 1,900 miles, so a maximum radius of about 950 miles. Now, comparing these to the Boeing B-17Cs and Ds that are in service, these have an approximate 2,000-mile range, 1,000-mile radius. Of course, they carry much heavier loads, but also at much higher altitudes. Combat radii for bombing or patrol may be shorter due to weight and fuel restrictions. Unarmed recon flights at maximum economy are much longer, especially fully fueled. However, the B-17s really were needed elsewhere. And turning to the Southwest Pacific Theater of Operations with the Far East Air Force in the Philippines, the Imperial Japanese Naval Landing Forces had begun the invasion on 8th December with landings at Bataan Island in the archipelago 120 miles north of Luzon. The 14th Army followed on 10th December with landings at Camiguin Island and at Vigan, Aparri, and Gonzaga, using Army transports with Navy escorts and minesweepers. As we saw yesterday, the Army Air Forces had kind of concentrated their power, and today those B-17s, P-40s, and P-35s attacked convoys and the troops and equipment on the beaches at Vigan and Aparri. The strikes include the much-publicized attack of Captain Colin Kelly, Jr. of the 14th Heavy Bombardment Squadron, 7th Heavy Bombardment Group. Flying over Aparri on the northern coast of Luzon, Kelly made 2 passes at 20,000 feet, and the bombardier set for precise drop. On the third run, Bombardier Meyer 11 released 3 bombs in trail and bracketed the ships in the attack, which is quite a feat considering the B-17's usual anti-shipping performance at that height. As described in the reports and related by Colonel Eugene L. Eubank of the 5th Bomber Command Headquarters, Malang, Dutch East Indies, the battleship was seen about 4 miles offshore and moving slowly parallel with the coastline. The first bomb struck about 50 yards short, the next alongside, and the third squarely amidship. A great cloud of smoke arose from the point of impact. The forward length of the ship was about 10 degrees off center to port side. The battleship began weaving from side to side and headed toward shore. Large trails of oil followed in its wake. On its return flight, Kelly was engaged by several A-6M2s of the Tainan Air Group, including a flight led by Saburo Sakai, although his was not the one which engaged Kelly, and the Japanese thought the aircraft was only a probable kill, with credit split between 5 other pilots as they never saw the B-17 crash. So, despite rumors, Sakai was not the actual person who downed Captain Kelly. A search party found Captain Kelly's body amidst the wreckage, still wearing his parachute, with Tech Sergeant Delahanty's body lying not far from the wreck. Miraculously, co-pilot Lieutenant Donald Robbins, together with Lieutenant Joe Bean, Staff Sergeant James Halkyard, Sergeant Bombardier Meyer Levine, PFC Willard Money, and Private Altman had all bailed out to safety. Captain Kelly was one of the first heroes of the war in the American press, and the imagery of his attack was definitely something used in war bonds and posters for years through the war. He was posthumously awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for destroying a battleship. He did believe he was attacking a Fuso-class battleship. It was then reported as the Kongo-class battlecruiser Haruna, and in the end the Army Air Forces believed it rather to be the heavy cruiser Ashigara. In reality, he struck the light cruiser Natori and the destroyer escort Harukaze, damaging them both but sinking neither. Turning to the west coast of Luzon, at Pandan near Vigan, 5 B-17s escorted by Seversky P-35As and Curtiss P-40Bs strike the beaches and landing craft. Minesweeper W-10 is sunk, and the Army auxiliary transport ships Oigawa Maru and Taka'o are severely damaged and run aground. The B-17s, however, are not to thank. Again, they weren't that good at bombing from high altitude against ships. Captain Samuel Merritt, the commanding officer of the 34th Fighter Squadron, sunk the W-10 with his P-35's machine guns, a pair of 30 caliber and a pair of 50 caliber guns. He made run after run until the minesweeper finally blew up. When it did, however, Merritt was so close that the explosion tore a wing off and he crashes into the shoreline, being killed on impact. His flight also managed to damage the light cruiser Naka and the destroyer Marusame with strafing. The two transports are repaired, although neither survives the war from what I can tell. But of course, none of this stops the oncoming Japanese tide. The troops are on the beaches, and the Philippines are falling. And we'll get further into that tomorrow. And thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry I'm a little stuffed up today, but 'tis the season. It's finally getting to be a little wintry out there. This is Claire, and I am the Warbird Mistress. Take care.